Hi! Today I'm in the idyllic, pastoral, agricultural landscape of the North Dorset border into Wiltshire. It's a very sort of quiet area. I don't think you're going to get hardly anyone about. It's a beautiful sunny day. We've got this warmth at the end of March. It's amazing. It's like summer. And I'm going to do this spectacular view that I'm looking towards to the southwest. It's called Melbury Hill. And so I'm going to be doing a painting. That's all North Dorset. So I'm just studying at the moment this hazy golden, pale golden sort of light just over the hill line. And I just want to do that in a wet and wet technique. And then there's this gorgeous tree line that sweeps across with the pastoral grasses coming up. So we're going to do a 3-colour technique using a blue and a red and a yellow. And I'm going to try and absorb all this before I create. That's the most important thing when you're painting outside. And I'm going to be working on a small sort of rough textured watercolour paper. I would suggest Saunders Waterford is a lovely watercolour paper to use, or Bockingford, or if you can afford it, Archers. So, bye for now. So I'm using gamboge for my base, for my first backwash to create the light. And I have to work really quickly. I might just drop a little bit more water on there. Can you see that? See how it's trickling down? Yeah. So that's really important. Now the vocal point... Cut, not vocal. This is going to be a very quick sketch study, showing what you can do with a little pad like this. So I shall be going into this scene probably when you're using a small piece of paper. Make sure some of the water sort of tips off the paper or trickles off the paper. Right, so the most important thing, the focal point is the hill. You see, I mixed all 3 colours together to get something quite interesting. Now I'm just going to let that settle in that water, and then it's all about timing when you do wet and wet. And also, I'm on a small piece of paper. If I was doing this big, wow. Okay, so we're just going to bring it across, let it tip down. This is a new area for me. Just let it trickle down. tip the paper. Keep going along the line. I'm just taking a small area of it as I'm using a small piece of paper. I'm just fascinated. It's not going to be exactly like that, but I'm just getting the idea of it. That's what it's about, is when you get out into the open, is getting the idea of it, the concept of it. And it's like I'm closer to it. I'm finding the backdrop of it very challenging. Because it's very pale, actually. Very muted and pale, sort of minty almost, but not sure if I've got the right blue, but you know, at the end of the day, you're just getting an idea. Just fill that in. It's just an idea which you can then take back to your studio. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's not exact, as I keep saying. It's just feeling what's in front of you. As you can see, I just drop the colour onto the line, onto the curves to create the tree shapes. I'm using a Japanese mop-haired, squirrel-haired brush. Which I just do that, just to bring that out a bit more. There you go. So it's very quick, it's very spontaneous. Just bringing that out, and then tip. And the sky is just glary. There's absolutely no cloud, just very bright and illuminating. So the best thing is to just leave it as it is. Just going to trickle another field system that comes across there, just for a bit of interest. I mean, it's just so hazy, you can hardly see anything. I'm just going to trickle just a bit there as well. But that's the beauty of watercolour. You can get these unusual markings and shapes. And as it starts to dry, go back to it again. Again, I mix all three colours to get these very dark pine colours. Yeah. And as it starts to dry again, go along that seam. We don't want any of that going down into the field. As it starts to dry, you have to be patient, and you start to see these natural organic formations. I'm going to just put some little dots in that area there. As if If I was nearer, there probably would be more. There, as we go up there, and there, and up there. There we go. You can hardly see that side. Can't really see anything. You can see that, because it disappeared, didn't it, that? So I go back to it again. Let's just go back to it. So you get this crinkling line here, lead line. I might drop some more in, just a bit more. Then we'll... So my brush is very loaded with paint. So you have to be precise where you're dropping the colour on. Working along this natural formation line, field system. Then I've created more depth. It's almost like I'm closer. Everything I paint, I always paint sort of closer to me. And it feels like I'm sort of looking more down into that valley of Melbury and Cannes. Yeah. You can't see the village. You really can't. It's all hidden away. And just up there, there's a road which takes you across to the Wessex Ridgeway. And that hill just up there is called Zigzag Hill. Just the other side of that slope. I'm going to show you some more wet in wet, like they're just formation paintings really, natural organic formation paintings of the landscape around here. It's particularly lovely because it's so warm today. Yeah. I'm tipping. Another little tip, the filbert brush is great for etching out. If you put a lot of depth of colour on and you just want some ethereal light falling down through the trees or the woodland behind. So you just use a dry filbert and just etch it out slightly. There you go. That bit's just got to dry there. Just that bit there. I don't really want to touch it. So it's still wet. I think I'll lie it flat. I'll leave it there and see what happens. Please.